Hi, my name is Dave Bohan. I'm Vice President and Chief Development Officer of the Valley Hospital Foundation. And I'm here with Joe Lorino, Vice President of Facilities Management and Project Executive for this great project. And today, we have a wonderful opportunity going through and viewing various parts of the project and seeing the progress and explaining how the hospital will look when it's finished. So Joe, what do you say? Let's go.
What we're doing is we've closed this off so we can heat the building, so we can start applying finishes, our sheetrock, taping, spackling, adhesives, which requires certain environment, temperature and humidity, and we are maintaining now with temporary heaters. May 18th was our first delivery of our first steel beam, and then we topped out that December.
Wow.
So it only took about 7 months to erect all the steel, and then we spent the entire 2021 putting up the brick, which was completed by the end of 2021.
So this was done brick by brick. They weren't brought in panels. This
no,
was brick
no
by
panels.
brick.
The result is fabulous.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. How much green space, how much lawn space in the project?
We are required that 20% of our space be green space. But we're Valley, so we're going to make sure that we do more. So we have calculated over 30% of the total 40 acres will be green space.
Oh, wow.
That's one heck of a landscaping.
And the roofs too, right?
Absolutely. So we have 2 green roofs here. We have our main green roof, which will be on top of our podium building, and it'll be a great view for our patients to see over out of their window on the West Pavilion as well as the North Pavilion. And then we have a green roof that connects our parking structure with our South Pavilion, which will be visible from our labor and delivery room.
Why don't we take a walk into the first floor lobby?
Sounds good.
All right.
Welcome to our first floor lobby.
Wow, this is really impressive.
We just walked through the main entrance under the porte cochere, where we would have a reception desk right there, and they will be directed which way to go. They have a choice. They can walk straight to the visitor elevators. They can turn left toward the diagnostic imaging and ED area, or they may choose to walk up our set of monumental stairs here to our second floor lobby, where they'll be directed by a second reception desk up there to determine where they're going.
I see.
And they can choose to go to surgical waiting at that point, the second floor visitor elevators, or make a turn into our nice servery, which is on the second floor.
Can you tell me why you've got plywood on the floor here?
What we've installed is radiant heating. Typically, it is very difficult to heat a lobby this large. The design intent here is to keep the floor warm, which will keep the entire lobby warm.
I see. I know that we are also going to have a conference center. So as you make the bend around, you'll be able to go into a conference center that will be able to have events for our own staff, education sessions, as well as opportunities for the public.
We have the capability of putting together and configuring 9 different conference rooms to 2 large conference rooms
with collapsible,
collapsible, removable, and electric actuated walls.
Great. So can you take me to the second floor lobby?
Absolutely.
All
Let's
right.
go.
The area that people will be coming in from the gardens and walking paths, as well as the parking deck. They'll be coming into this lobby right here. We're going to have over there a 4 Seasons room for people to be able to sit and enjoy the outside from the inside. We'll have a retail pharmacy over here. And then this will be the entrance to our servery, or our eating area, where we'll have facilities for visitors as well as staff. So could you show me the servery and the eating area?
Sure. As we leave what is known as the knuckle area, and we enter what is known as the South Pavilion, and this will be our servery or eating area, where there'll be several dining areas here, as well as a dedicated staff eating area right on the south end of this pavilion. We also will have a coffee bar or espresso bar further down into this area so that the visitors, staff can enjoy a nice cup of coffee.
I understand we're also going to have a hydroponic garden?
Yes, and that's right in this area right here that we're standing in.
Ah.
Operated by our dining people, by Valley Dining, where we'll grow our own herbs from our hydroponic garden.
Oh, nice. So what are those things called that they're moving around right now?
Well, David, those are genie lifts, and we have tons of those on this project. And the reason why we have tons of those is this is a no-ladder project.
A no-ladder project.
And the reason why is it's the #1 accident on construction sites, falling or slipping off a ladder.
So these things will just raise up and lower, and
that's correct. Raise up and lower at the work, and they will keep you safe.
Wow, I could have used one of these for my house.
Same here.
At this point, right over here, we will be building our 1,500 car parking structure. We anticipate that most of our visitors and most of our patients will be utilizing the parking structure and will be entering through the second floor lobby. Strategically placed next to the second floor lobby is our surgical waiting area, where they will be escorted into the prep recovery areas. Our North Pavilion is comprised of 2 floors, the first 2 floors, 4th and 5th floor of our critical care floors, as well as the 6th and 7th floor, which will be med-surg patient rooms, private rooms. Toward the middle, adjoining the 2 pavilions, is our knuckle area, where all the services and all the support for the patient areas. And then finally in the south is our women's and children's, or the South Pavilion, which will have 4 floors of women's and children's and pediatrics.
What are we looking at above the patient floors there? It looks like you've got a large structure on top there.
So those areas there are our penthouse mechanical equipment rooms, and all the services, all of our conditioned air services as well as our electrical services will feed down to the patient areas from each one of our mechanical equipment rooms, and each one of our 3 pavilions will have the similar mechanical equipment rooms that feed down the areas. And you can see, as you pointed out, the North Pavilion as well as the South Pavilion mechanical spaces.
Now I know that part of the garden and walking paths in the back, we're going to be featuring some of the Alexander department store NAP panels.
That's correct, David. We will have one specific area where there'll be 3 monuments, and each one of those monuments will comprise of 6 panels for a total of 18 panels, as well as another area where we have panels amidst a seating area so patients and family members and visitors can enjoy. We're bringing those panels back to Paramus where they belong.
So why don't we take a walk around, and you can maybe show me the cogeneration plant and things like that as we go.
Absolutely, David. Our cogeneration plant, which will be producing, anywhere from 30 to 45% of our power, depending on the season, will be housed there, and we will be feeding power to this primary switchgear, which will then power the rest of the building.
The cogeneration combined with the emergency power at this point will comprise a significant percentage of the total power of the building, right?
That's correct, David. We're producing electrical energy as well as heat from the plant that would have otherwise been wasted, which increases the efficiency of the total production. So rather than buying inefficient power and producing heat, we're doing it all together in one plant. So the top 3 reasons why we install the cogeneration plant, or will be installing the cogeneration plant, is number 1, resiliency, number 2, cost savings, and 3, you mentioned, a reduction in our carbon footprint. We anticipate about 9,000 tons of carbon emission reduction by running this plant.
Wow. Wow.
What's come up on this side of the view is the 3-story podium building, as we call it, or our interventional platform, as well as the other 7-story West Pavilion, which will house 4 floors or 4 units of private med-surg rooms.
I see.
Ambulances will be coming into below this canopy to bring the patients into the ED. Beyond that, we mentioned earlier, is the central utility plant, and also beyond that is the loading dock area where all of our materials will be coming in. But the walk-in ED entrance under this canopy here is also with a private parking area for the patients that are walking in. And then right over here to the left, ambulances can remove the patients, bring them in, and then park in this area here as well.
I know that we're looking at trying to develop LEED certification. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So in our case, we are about 14% more efficient than any benchmark hospital similar to ours.
Wow. Is that because of the all the glass that we have and the thermal efficiency of the glass? I mean, what does it do to that 14%?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
It could be the exterior. The exterior is very insulative, so we don't have the outside environment coming inside. Also, our systems, our motors, our pumps, our chillers, our boilers are all at very high efficiency. We're also purchasing what is known as renewable energy. Renewable energy is energy produced, naturally, wind and hydroelectric, solar, and so forth. So we are pursuing it. We're at about 65 points right now, which is well above our 60-point threshold, but we won't know till after construction's complete.
Great. All right. Well, why don't we walk into the emergency department? We're currently in the emergency department waiting area. I know the whole idea is to have all of our kind of critical services near each other to ease in terms of transportation. So we have the ED here, behind us we have imaging, and above us are all the operating rooms and procedure rooms. Could you talk a little bit how the new hospital is setting up those exam rooms?
As the patients walk in, on the other side will be the reception desk, and this will be the waiting area, and then they will be assigned a certain area in one of our 5 pods that are in the ED area. But being able to have the patient come in, go directly to triage area, which is right here, and then determine if they need to, for instance, go into an ED exam room, go straight to diagnostic imaging, which is right behind us, or we have 2 dedicated elevators that would bring the patient, in a case of a critical patient, straight up to the interventional floor where procedures may or may not be needed as well. So that's what makes this such a great spot, and the design pretty much revolved around this area here where the critical services are all within the same floor.
So this is kind of the room where it happens.
That's right, that's correct.
Right now we're standing in the Four Seasons room, which we mentioned earlier. It's a lounge to enjoy the outdoor gardens, and we're going to head inside the surgical waiting area.
All right.
All of our lounges and all our waiting areas, we've now designed them as spaced out for social distancing.
Got it. This is the surgical waiting area, and behind us are all of our procedure and operating rooms. Tell me about how many operating and procedure rooms do we have?
We have 17 ORs. 7 are hybrid ORs, and 10 are general use ORs. Those hybrid ORs could be neuro, thoracic, as well as cardiac ORs. We also have 2 cath labs, 3 EP labs, and 2 endo suites as well.
That's all over here.
All back here, where we're covered with about 38 prep recovery rooms, as well as PACU rooms, all in the 2nd floor of the interventional wing. All the support staff and all the offices, the peri-op offices, will be behind here. The ORs back in Ridgewood are about 400 square feet in size. Our smallest OR in the Paramus Hospital is 650 square feet, and that's for general use. Our hybrid ORs can go up to 1,000 square feet. And the reason why we did that is to allow for more medical equipment, more robotic equipment, as well as clearances around the actual caregivers.
Got it.
This is the two MRI rooms.
Oh, okay.
It looks nice and shiny now, but in 10 years' time, we may have to replace these magnets, the two magnets. And these two magnets could weigh up to 10,000 pounds. So we would replace them through the removable wall structure, as well as upstairs we have an interoperative MRI where we would do the same.
I know that our staff were directly involved in the design and layout of the ED and imaging and the operating rooms as part of this process we call 3P. And their input actually, as well as the expertise from our architects, helped to design kind of the pathway that would easily take this piece of equipment out rather than it being embedded somewhere in the middle of the building, right?
Yeah, and again, having that access point or the ease of a removable panel helps us in the replacement process.
What you see in front of us is where the MRI scanner will be positioned. And on either side of it, we have a neuro OR that can be used for surgery, and then the neurosurgeon can now wheel a patient in the middle of the procedure, wheel a patient into the MRI and get a quick scan.
Wow.
To ensure that whatever was to be accomplished was indeed accomplished.
So can we walk in and see what is different about these operating rooms? Because I see over here you've got some interesting things hanging from the ceiling.
Absolutely. Let's step right in.
All right.
This is a prototype OR, general use, 650 square feet, and we will build it all the way down to the finishes before we start to build the other 16 ORs. And it'll include the finishes, the furniture, as well as the lighting and the booms for the surgeons to come in here, give it one final look over before we build the other ones. Airflow is very, very important, and velocity of airflow is very, very important to minimize the amount of infections that could happen in an open cavity. So the air will come down and sort of create an air curtain around the patient as well as the doctors. And then before it has a chance to hit the ground, it will return back to the returns, which are, and there's another one on the other side, which will return back to our air handler to be refiltered and reconditioned. Because of its size, we could change its use.
So in the future, as the technologies change, it'll have more flexibility in terms of being able to integrate some of the latest technology.
That's correct.
Got it. Looking good, Joe.
It's getting there. So this is our visitor elevator bank, okay, where we have 4 elevators dedicated to visitors only. Back in Ridgewood, we have visitors, we have food, we have employees, we have patients, all riding the same elevators.
The elevators are very centrally located in this center, kind of the knuckle, as they call it,
that's right,
of the building, so that when you have easy access to basically all the pavilions. I know there's a separate dedicated elevator to women's and children's. A lot of that has to do with security and making sure that we're keeping that area secure. But again, that's an essential area, so easy access.
And easy access for the visitors to be pointed in the right direction, whether they're going to the adult units or toward the women's and children's units. So where we have 3 elevators, they're dedicated just for the South Pavilion.
Got it. I see.
So this plant here is where all our air conditioning for the building is produced through the use of chilling water,
right?
Hence the name chillers, and supplying chilled water to our air handler fans up in the penthouses and cooling, conditioning, and dehumidifying the air so we can send it to the patients at optimal temperature and humidity conditions.
So is this the most energy efficient way of cooling a building?
Absolutely. This is one major reason why we met our energy and atmosphere guidelines for LEED rating for the United States Green Building Council, because these are very efficient.
Okay, so Joe, we are in one of our 372 patient rooms, and talk about them.
We're obviously standing in the patient area, or the patient care area.
So the head wall is right here?
Head wall is right here, which was all prefabricated off-site. Right behind you, David, you'll see the clinical area, where the nurses and other caregivers will be able to work on the patient. And then finally, probably I think is the most important to patient care, is the family area. We believe that the patient and their families will have, the patients that have their families here will have better outcomes, because the family will be part of their care.
Very supportive. And then each room will have its own private bathroom with a roll-in shower.
That's right. So you can see it's almost like a hotel suite.
Very nice. And there's going to be a large flat screen panel on this opposite wall, right?
That's
so
right.
Tell me what kind of things are going to happen through that.
So we've gone through some intensive work with the IS department, as well as consultants. But the foot wall here will house a 75-inch TV for each patient area. The patient, along with their pillow speaker, will be able to control not only the TV for entertainment, internet, and so forth, but the caregiver will be able to call up, whether it's x-rays,
lab
results, whatever, through that TV and show it to the patient. They will be able to control temperature in this room, control the lighting in this room, as well as the mechanical shades that we will put in there. So again,
they can really control their own environment. If they like it cool, if they like it warmer, they'll be able to adjust it themselves.
We thought it would be probably the best satisfier for patients, because temperature, noise, and of course entertainment is one of the biggest patient dissatisfiers that we know. About a quarter of that panel will have that permanent board on it that will list all the caregivers for that patient for that shift. Also, our badges will be RFID badges.
Oh,
So David, when Dr. David walks in the room, it'll display, "Hi, I'm Dr. David."
Wow.
And it will recognize, as well as a plumber, an EVS associate, or someone providing food, because then you have a first name basis and it becomes a lot more friendlier.
Sure. Tell me some things that you learned from COVID in terms of the hospital design.
We were lucky that we were in initial schematic design when COVID hit us. And some of the things that we did was be able to increase the number of negative pressure rooms or isolation rooms in each unit from 2 to 4, and then again turn the entire unit, all 36 beds, into negative pressure rooms with a push of a button through our building management system. Every time an IV pump goes into alarm or the bag is empty, the nurse or caregiver would have to suit up with PPE, come in, reset the alarm or fill the bag, and then go out again and dispose of PPE. So in this case, we are installing permanent pass-through tubes through the wall that are NFPA certified, that can be installed permanently.
In addition to saving on the PPE equipment, it also reduces the number of intrusions or disturbances to the patient who's trying to sleep or recover or whatever. And I know that, giving the patient as much privacy as possible is also important to their recovery.
That's right.
I know one of the things we're also doing in terms of the supply closet is interesting. So talk about that.
Yes, the supply closet, which is known as the nurse server, will house all the supplies, including medication, for the patient here. That supply closet or nurse server will be stocked from the hallway.
From the outside.
From the outside, so instead of the inside. So the nurse can come in, use the supplies, or administer the medication. We've doubled the amount of oxygen outlets. We've doubled the amount of medical air and medical vacuum outlets, as well as the normal and emergency power electrical outlets.
I see.
So we have converted every room to a critical care level room just by doing this.
You've got some privacy features there by being able to kind of turn the shades between the glass to give the patient privacy, or if they need to be observed, to allow that to happen too.
Yeah, these unicell blinds, which they're known as, they reside in the glass windows in the doors and in the viewing areas for the nurses opposite their charting station. So if a patient requires privacy, they walk over, or the family member walks over, closes the blinds, which are internal to the glass.
The labor and delivery rooms are larger, aren't they?
Absolutely, yes, they are a lot larger than here. Probably, you know, you're looking at over 300 square feet here. The labor and delivery room is probably about 370 square feet.
So what is that additional space for?
For the partners.
For the partners?
For the partner,
and
the
babies
equipment,
can be
the babies.
can be in the
We
room?
have areas for the bassinets, whether it's a single baby or twin babies. We have areas for baby care inside the labor and delivery room.
Wow, fascinating.